Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Sanita Ramya from Sharjah, UAE. Welcoming all of you to this Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. I thank all of you for attending this session. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. I would like to read the 10 offenses to the holy names which are to be avoided written by Sri Vyasadeva in the Padma Purana. Number 1, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Number 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. Number 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to main imagination. Number 6, to give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. Number 7, to commit simple activities on the strength of the holy name. Number 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, Karma Kanda. Number 9, to instruct a faithless person about the holy name of the Lord. Number 10, to not have complete faith in this chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be net into while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against his offenses in order to achieve the desired success, that is Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I once again welcome all of you to this Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. So today we will be moving on to our next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. But before moving on to the session, I would like to know who are all on the call today. And before that, I should thank Bhakti Sangha. Because of Bhakti Sangha only, every day we are reading this 10 offenses. I got nicely memorized. Thank you for that.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your services, Mataji. I can see that you have memorized it so nicely. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. All glories to Bhakti Sangha and all devotees of Bhakti Sangha. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. And thank you for all your services on Bhakti Sangha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devidasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Priya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hope you are well, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, little bit better.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjari Leela Devidasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandrat Pranam Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, wonderful, wonderful Vaishnavas. All glories. Thank you for being here. I haven't been available for a while, and I'm just so excited to be back. Hare Krishna. This is Sri Sapanishad Dasi. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Mataji, we also missed your association for a while. Thank you so much for joining us again. Hari Bol, Mataji. Please keep joining us and giving us your association, Mataji. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, your glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nitaramya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Gurus and Gauranga. This is Sundarangi Radha Devi Dasi from Canada. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I once again welcome all of you to this Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. And today we will be moving on to our next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. But before moving on to the session, I would like to read the introduction of today's speaker. And our today's speaker is His Grace Shyam Chandra Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Shyam Chandra Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. Before moving on to the session, I would like to read the introduction of Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. His Grace Shyamachandra Prabhuji is the disciple of Srila Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Maharaj. Academically, Prabhuji holds double masters from Mumbai University, masters in analytical chemistry from Institute of Science, and masters in marketing management. Professionally, Prabhu retired 2 years back as global president sales and marketing in a multinational company, and he occasionally conducts leadership training programs for corporates to motivate young leaders to achieve professional perfection based on Vedic wisdom. Spiritually, Prabhuji has a Bhakti Shastri degree from MIHE and he is pursuing Bhakti Vaibhav. He serves Bhakti Vedanta Institute by giving Srimad Bhagavatam classes on Saturdays. On the Grihastha front, Prabhuji and his good wife Sundari Mataji are married for last 34 years and are blessed with 2 wonderful Grihastha sons, namely Amrendra Prabhu in Atlanta and Arjun Sakha Prabhu in Seattle, who were raised in an ideal Krishna conscious environment. Post his retirement, Prabhuji and Mataji have relocated to Vrindavan. And we are very fortunate to have Prabhuji's association on the call today. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us your valuable time in association. And today's verse will be from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, and verse 41. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Thank you very much, Anita Ramya Mataji. Hare Krishna to you and to all the dear devotees assembled, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis on this call, on this wonderful platform of Bhakti Sangha. It is indeed my honor and privilege to be part of this program today and to receive all your nice association and hopefully the service that I'm going to render today will aid in some purification for myself. So I will just put the verse on the screen. Mataji, I'll share the screen or you're sharing it?
Yeah, for the verse, Indileka Mataji will share, or if you want to share also, it's fine, Prabhu.
Okay, I'll share.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hope it is visible for all.
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you scroll little bit up, Prabhuji? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Now it is visible completely. Yes.
Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाये तदालिये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्मं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणीं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Once again, welcoming all to this morning in US and evening in India for this transcendental session on Srimad Bhagavatam, the transcendental literature Srimad Bhagavatam, and wanted to thank the Bhakti Sangha platform for inviting me to serve today. So we are discussing today on Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 15th chapter, which is instructions to the civilized human beings, and we are on text number 41. आहु शरीरं रतमिन्द्रियाणि हयानभीषुन्मन इन्द्रियेशं वर्तमानि मात्रादिशनां ससूतां सत्वं बृहद्बन्धुरमीश सृष्टम्। Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charna Arvinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The transcendentalists who are advanced in knowledge compare the body, which is made by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to a chariot. The senses are like the horses. The mind, the master of senses, is like the reins. The object of the senses are the destinations. Intelligence is the chariot driver, and consciousness, which spreads throughout the body, is the cause of bondage in this material world. Purport. May I request any volunteers to read? It's a long purport. Would anybody like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it okay if I read?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay, please tell me when to stop. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, if two people want to wish, they can even share. Like you can maybe read one part, and somebody else can take the remaining part also.
Sure,
I leave it to you. Okay. So I already see two hands raised. I think Anita Mataji has raised, and also Manjari Leela Mataji. And okay, so I think both of you can share.
Sure. Okay. I'll start. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. For a bewildered person in the materialistic way of life, the body, the mind, and senses, which are engaged in sense gratification, are the cause of bondage to repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. But for one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge, the same body, senses, and mind are the cause of liberation. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 133 to 4:9 as follows. Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram ratham evacha, buddhim tu sarathim vidhi, mana pragraha evacha. Indriyani hayan ahur vishayam steshu gochara, sodhvana param apnoti tad vishnu paramam padam. The soul is the occupant of the chariot of the body, of which the driver is the intelligence. The mind is the determination to reach the destination. The senses are the horses, and the sense objects are also included in that activity. Thus, one can reach the destination, Vishnu, who is Paramam Padam, the supreme goal of life. In the conditioned life, the consciousness in the body is the cause of bondage, but the same consciousness, when transformed into Krishna consciousness, becomes the cause for one's returning home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Who wants to go next?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The human body, therefore, may be used in two ways: for going to the darkest regions of ignorance, or for going forward back home, back to Godhead. To go back to Godhead, the path is Mahatseva, to accept the self-realized special master. Mahatsevam dwara vimukteha. For liberation, one should accept the direction of authorized devotees who can actually endow one with perfect knowledge. On the other hand, tamodwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. If one wants to go to the darkest regions of material existence, one may continue to associate with persons who are attached to women. Yoshitam sangi sangam. The word yoshit means women. Persons who are attached to women. It is said, therefore, Atmanam ratinam vidhi shariram ratamevacha. The body is just like a chariot or car in which one may go anywhere. One may drive well, or else one may drive whimsically, in which case it is quite possible that he may have an accident and fall into a ditch. In other words, if one takes directions from the experienced spiritual master, one can go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, one may return to the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, Krishna personally advises Ashraddadanaha Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotion service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. BG 9.3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna personally gives instructions on how one can return home back to Godhead. But if one does not care to listen to his instructions, the result will be that one will never go back to Godhead, but will continue life in this miserable condition of repeated birth and death in material existence. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Hare Krishna. Manjari Mataji can go ahead.
Hare Krishna. The advice of experienced transcendentalists, therefore, is that the body be fully engaged for achieving the ultimate goal of life, Svasagatim. The real interest of or goal of life is to return home back to Godhead. To enable one to fulfill this purpose, there are so many Vedic literatures, including Vedanta Sutra, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and the Ramayana. One should take lessons from these Vedic literatures and learn how to practice Nivritti Marga. Then one's life will be perfect. The body is important as long as it has consciousness. Without consciousness, the body is merely a lump of matter. Therefore, to return home back to Godhead, one must change his consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. One's consciousness is the cause of material bondage. But if this consciousness is purified by Bhakti Yoga, one can then understand the falsity of his upadhi, his designations as Indian, American, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and so on. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. One must forget these designations and use this consciousness only for the service of Krishna. Therefore, if one takes advantage of the Krishna consciousness moment, his life is certainly successful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much to all the three Matajis who read the purport. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Deviki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is a very beautiful verse that Narad Muni is now as part of instructions to the civilized persons. He is continuing his instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So this particular verse, actually, I'm sure for most of you, like it is did for me also, reminds us of Bhagavad Gita. You know, the entire, I would say, basis of our existence, of our Krishna conscious philosophy, everything, whatever we have learned in Bhagavad Gita, in this one verse, Narad Muni has nicely shared. quoting Katha Upanishad in this particular verse, and Prabhupada has also nicely explained. So what I will do is I will take you through what I'm calling as taking fresh guard. Taking fresh guard is a terminology that is normally used in cricket. People who are familiar with cricket might know that the great legend Sunil Gavaskar always says that even when you score a century, you should not be relaxed, because at one mistake you make, you will be out. You should aspire for going more and more from strength to strength. That is called taking. So he tells that anybody who has even hit 100, should not be overconfident. Instead, he should take a fresh guard. So this is like I would say, a revision for most of us, because we are all devotees, and we understand exactly what this verse is saying. So maybe it's time for us to take fresh guard, and then we try to analyze the various constituents, of this particular chariot model that is described beautifully by Narad Muni, and also very nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. So to explain it beautifully, to explain it in a very convincing way, obviously I will take the help of the slides. So I'll share the slides now, because everything will be diagrammatically depicted. So it will be easy for us to understand. So I'm sharing this slide now of the chariot model. Okay, so hope it is visible again. So we are on the same verse, 7:15:41. Ahu shariram ratamindriyani hayan abhishunmana indriyesham vartamani matra dishanam cha sutam satvam brihadbandhuramesha srishtam. Again, the translation. Transcendentalists who are advanced in knowledge compare the body, which is made by the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead, to a chariot. That means our body is compared to a chariot. The senses are like the horses. Okay. The mind, which is the master of senses, is like the reins, and the object of senses are the destinations. The intelligence is the chariot driver, and the consciousness, which spreads throughout the body, is the cause of bondage in this material world. So we'll try to understand few points through in the discussions over the next 45 minutes. So what is the chariot model that Narad Muni is referring to from Katha Upanishad? Understanding the position, our position, the Jivatma's position through the chariot model, exploring the mind as an enemy and friend. This is very, very important because it will help us to advance in our spiritual life and defining our ultimate destination. So if we are able to successfully address these 4 points, then I think we would have probably done a good justice to today's verse. So of course, we discussed about the civilized and uncivilized, which Narad Muni is talking about in this chapter. So we have to go back a little further, behind, so that we know which category we must belong to. We might call ourselves civilized. Anybody you ask a person, he'll say, "I'm civilized. I'm not uncivilized." But by the pure definition of what is civilized and uncivilized, let's do a quick recap. So civilized person, actually, he knows the purpose of a human life. Whereas an uncivilized person, he doesn't know the purpose of human life. He is most of the time ignorant, or he tries to deny the purpose of the real purpose of human life. So for example, if somebody is atheistically minded or demonic minded, he will deny the existence of God. He will assume that his power is all, he's all powerful and he can dominate. A civilized person acts purely as per the scriptures and according to the will of God, surrenders to the superior, that is Guru, and seeks the guidance with full faith, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshana. On the contrary, this uncivilized person, he will act in contrary to the will of God. He will not respect the scriptures, society. There is no question of him seeking guidance from superiors, because he himself considers as superior. So whimsical behavior is the apt word for uncivilized person, which is explained in Bhagavad Gita 16.23. Ya shastra vidim utshrijya vartate kamakaratah na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukam na param gatim. And civilized person follows the paro dharma. That is, he is always worshipping Krishna, adokshaje. And the uncivilized person, he follows adharma. Sometimes he follows the different types of adharma that was covered in one of the earlier sessions, I think by Preeti Vilasani Mataji. So adharma, paradharma, dharma abhasha, upadharma, chaladharma, all this are the typical areas that the uncivilized person will focus upon. So therefore, because civilized person is following the scriptures and always worshipping the Lord, adokshaje, he is always under the shelter of the Lord. Daivim prakritim ashrita. Mahatmanastu mamparta daivim prakritim ashrita. Vajanti ananya manaso natva bhutadim avyayam. And here, the uncivilized person is always dictated by the lower modes through impure intelligence, because he's always acting under the lower modes. So the intelligence also will be impure. His mind will be impure. His senses will be impure. And as a result, he will always be like Dr. Frog. I'm sure all of you know what Dr. Frog is, speculative thinking. So he denies the existence of God and doesn't believe in the laws of karma. We hear so many times, even in the present generation, so-called, cultured people, they say there's only one life, enjoy it, So this is exactly, they're uncivilized actually. In the eyes of the scripture, they're uncivilized. So exploits the resources, environment, people, other living beings, nature, everything. He thinks that this is for enjoyment. God has given this for enjoyment. So let me have this for sense enjoyment, and therefore I claim the proprietorship. So this is the typical uncivilized nature of the behavior. So after having understood this, it will be easy for us to understand the chariot model. So now before we come to the chariot model, we try to understand, as it is mentioned in today's verse. Today's verse is already saying, Ahu Shariram Ratam. That means it's like a chariot. The Sharir means body is like a chariot. And the senses are the horses. Hayan is horses. Abhishun Mana Indriyesham Vartamani Matra Dishanam Chasutam Sattvam Brihad Panduram Ishashrishtam. So what is the composition that we are made of? This is a typical composition. That means we are made of gross and subtle. Okay, gross is typically the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, and ether. And subtle is mind, intelligence, ego. And these are all the elements that are enveloping us. And we, as Atma or soul, we are Sat Chit Ananda. That is our original form. And then because we are covered by these material elements, both subtle and gross, we are composed of all that. And now we come to the aspect of like in gross, typically we said earth, water, fire, ether. Then there is subtle, there is mind, ego, and false intelligence. False ego and intelligence. And there is Satchitanand, which is the soul. So it's like inner garment. Like soul is like the inner garment. The soul is inside, and then there's inner garment that is not perceived by any gross senses. Like for example, we have inner garments. It is not seen outside. So that becomes a subtle. And then what is seen outside, like the coat or shirt or a tie, that is gross body. Something like that energy. Okay. And here you see the comparison between the car and the soul. Okay. So the body. So for example, we have the body and we have the mouth to speak. The car has the horn to make sound. Sound similar. We have the eyes to see. The car has got headlights to see. Okay. The car has got the radiator to supply water, and we have got the heart to pump blood. We have got hands and legs to move. The car has got 4 wheels to drive. So isn't there any difference between the body and the car? So the car cannot budge 1 inch without the driver, whereas our body has got a soul inside. It cannot move. So just like how the car cannot move without the driver, now here in the case of car, the driver is a seen driver. In the case of body, the soul is unseen driver, something like that. So we understand in that way, and we can see that there is there's a big difference between the living and the non-living. So now we come to the description that is given in the verse, which is from Katha Upanishad 1.3.3 to 4 and 9. and that is given nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada also in the purport. So our body is a rath of chariot, as you can see here. A chariot has got a wheel, it has got a driver, okay, it has got a passenger chariot, and then the driver is riding the chariot with the help of the horses and is controlling the horses through the reins. So as per this chariot model, we as the soul, we are considered to be like the passenger. The passenger is sitting there on the white shirt there on the figure. It's the passenger, okay, the soul. And then the driver is the buddhi. The buddhi is driving the mind. Mind is compared to the rein, and the horses are like the senses. So we have got sense organs. We have got so these are the sense organs that we have. We have got knowledge acquiring senses and the corresponding objects for those knowledge acquiring senses. So eyes, with eyes we are able to see the form. If we didn't have the eyes, we will not be able to appreciate what is good and what is ugly looking, what is beautiful and what is ugly. We cannot see the entire, we cannot appreciate the form itself if we don't have the eyes. Similarly, ears are another sense. Without the ears, we cannot have the sound. Today we are enjoying the Hare Krishna Dun. We are enjoying the Kirtan. So all that is sound vibration, and that is coming because we are hearing it through our the sense of ears. Smell. We smell the nice fragrance of the flowers. We smell the nice scent after the Narshingarti daily, and also of the prasad. That the nostrils are helping us. Nose is another senses, and the tongue, the taste. We want to enjoy the particular prasadam, so we want to enjoy that. So that taste of that, whether it is salty or whether it is sweet, bitter, all that, there's a distinction that the tongue is giving us. And then of course the sense of touch. If somebody is touching us, we feel it. So that is coming from the skin. So these 5 senses are called the knowledge acquiring senses, because from these senses we acquire knowledge. We know what is what. If we didn't have that, we would not know. Okay, so the corresponding objects are there. And then there is working senses. Once we get knowledge, then we want to do some execution. So these working senses are the hands, legs, mouth, anus, and genitals. So with that, with the hands, we are able to do the work. Like we can, do chanting. We can drive the car with holding the 2 hands. We can clap. Many things we can do. We can hold objects. With the legs, we are able to walk. We are able to run. With the mouth, we are able to speak. With the anus, evacuation, and genitals for reproduction. So in that way, you can see that for every sense object, there is knowledge acquiring sense, and then there is a working sense. So these are called as the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So these horses are actually depicting this knowledge acquiring senses, and they want to experience, these horses want to experience the sense object. As you can see, it is meant to take in a particular direction, but as it is running, it's got its free will to see on all the sides. It may see different objects, sense objects, and one horse may like something, another horse may like something else. So that way it is there. Then of course there is mind. The mind is the one that is the reins through which the horses are, if they're going in wrong directions, the mind is supposed to pull them in the right direction. And the controller for that mind is intelligence, that is buddhi, or you can say the driver. So in this whole chariot model, dear devotees, the passenger is just a spectator. If you see in one way, the passenger is only a spectator. He has got nothing to do with the driver. He has got nothing to do with the reins. He has got nothing to do with the horses. He has got nothing to do with the chariot itself. And yet we find that over a period of time, he is seeing the activities of these horses, the reins, the intelligence, and he gets tuned to it. He starts enjoying it, or he starts disliking it. Either way, So this is what actually is the whole sum and substance of today's verse. So we will explore that. So first thing is we should understand our goal. goal or the destination. Okay, so the destination is very, very important for us to understand. See, because as a passenger, it is our right to know where we are going, where we want to go. If we don't know that, then we are real fools. If I sit in a train or a bus and I don't know where I have to go, then I better don't sit in that train or bus. Or if I sit in a train that is supposed to go to Mathura, but I want to go to Mayapur, then I'm sitting in the wrong train. I'm sitting in the wrong train. So these all are the things that the passenger should take care. But having taken care, sitting inside the chariot, then he knows that he better should know where I have to go. So the destination is the first thing is goal one. The destination is topmost. Our destination, as per the scriptures and as per the instructions from our acharyas, is that we should aim to go to the topmost destination. We should not settle for some intermediate destinations. For example, the heavenly planets, because we know if we go to heavenly planets, what is the drawback? We know that. Brahma Bhavana Loka Punar Avartana Arjuna. Again, you will go and you will come back only. So we want to go to a place which is permanent and from where we don't come back. Okay, so that Dham is called Golok Dham. And if you are able to go to Golok Dham, then our objective is to attain Lord's Parampadam, lotus feet. The supreme goal is to attain Lord's lotus feet, to become a dust, to do some service as a dust at his lotus feet. No, that will be the ultimate Parampadam, Paramam Padam. So supreme goal of human life under the influence. So this is possible. So first of all, the passenger should know, and then the passenger should ask the driver that, look, I want to go here. Do you know how to go there? He says, yes, I know how to go. Okay, that is a buddhi. He says, I know how to go. Okay, please take me there. Then he directs with the help of the reins, he directs the horses that go in this direction. And even if they are going astray, he controls it back and he ensures that the passenger is safely taken to that particular destination where the passenger wants to go. So that is our main thing, that we should know the goal. So that goal is now beautifully defined by Arjuna because he has seen it. He saw that, and then he's explaining in Bhagavad Gita 10, 12, 13. He says, Param Dhama, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashwatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vibhum. He says to the Lord, oh, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, greatest. And it is not only me who's saying this. All the great sages, Ahustam, Rishya Sarve, like Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, they all confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. Wow. What a fantastic situation. Imagine. And this is actually what our Guru also is telling us. No, but here we feel more impressed because Arjuna directly heard it from the Lord. Because we are not able to see the Guru's role in our life. The Guru is telling us the same thing. Guru is a representative of the Lord, and in many situations, he is non-different from the Lord. So he is telling us the same thing. Oh, you sleeping soul, wake up. Jiva Jago, Gaura Chandra Boli. He is telling us this message. And then he tells us that we are supposed to go here. And then he helps us to build that kind of rath. And then he gives us that he becomes our driver. He becomes our intelligence. He controls our mind. He takes us to the destination. That kind of unflinching faith, if the passenger has, then he will reach his topmost destination. Now, what is our problem? Our problem, before I go to that, another verse from Mother Devaki. She says beautifully in 10:3:27, she says, when this is after Krishna has appeared, but now that you appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you. So most of us have the problem of the fear of death. And she also had the fear of death because she lost 6 children before the appearance of the Lord. And she was fearing Kamsa because Kamsa is material life personified, is fear. So now she says that, oh Lord, you have appeared. My Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you. And the living entities have obtained shelter at your lotus feet by mercy, by your mercy. are sleeping in full mental peace. So this has got two meanings, one outer meaning and one inner meaning. Outer meaning is, as we understand, when we take shelter of the Lord, we will automatically, our mind will be calm and we'll get peaceful. We'll have very lot of peace because it is always focused at the lotus feet. Inner meaning, what she's saying is, all these so-called the prison keepers, they all went to sleep because they all, through the potency of Yogamaya, they all actually obtained the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So they all went into mental peace. They all went to sleep. So Srila Prabhupada also gives a very nice, in the purport, he mentions, so this is from Bhagavatam 5.5.2, which is explaining now in the purport. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktehe. That is, for this kind of liberation, one should accept the direction of authorized devotees, that is bona fide devotees, who can actually endow one with perfect knowledge. So that's what our goal is. That is what our movement is all about. And then Jada Bharat gives a nice piece of Divagyan to King Raghuguna in the 5th canto 12:12. He says, Vina Mahat Pado Rajo Abhishekam. My dear King Raghuguna, unless one has the opportunity to smear his body with the dust of lotus feet of the great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. So realizing absolute truth is our destination. And here the secret is given. The secret is we have to smear our body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees. So there are so many great devotees. Srila Prabhupada gave us so many servants of his, and who are willing to serve for his pleasure, and they are now the spiritual masters. So by serving his devotees, his disciples, we also get the same benefit what Jada Bharat is saying here. So now we come to if we cannot settle for that destination, then what is our future? Then we come to goal number 2, destination. This destination is alternate destination, which is a compromise. It is not an ideal destination. This destination is where we are now. Where we are now, that is Mritya Lok. Mritya Lok, this is basically, the problem here is we tend to enjoy whatever is given here in the material world under the dictates of a passionate mind. So now the mind has taken the role of passion. It is associating with mode of passion, and it is making the horse do few things. And because of that, the intelligence is also bowing down a little bit. And as a result, there is a considerable delay in going to our destination 1. And this delay is what is causing our problem. We all aspire to go into destination 1, but somehow we are stuck in destination 2. And we are stuck here maybe for millions and millions of lives. So we have realized it now, thanks to Srila Prabhupada and all the scriptures that he has given us. So now we have realized it, but it's time for us to act. So this particular Mritya Lok is Martya Lok. So Martya Mrityu Vala Bitaha Palyan. That means here people are always fear of death. Bitaha, Mrityu, fear of death. Palyan. That means they are running, as if, the example, analogy given in this verse is as if Prabhupada says, when we see a poisonous, venomous serpent coming towards us, we are scared. We just run for our life. That is exactly our situation now in this Mritya Lok. We are not realizing it. My wife told me that I'm out of video thing, is it? Okay, I will.
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, we don't see your video.
Oh, okay. I didn't
But we
realize
can see
that.
the slides.
I don't know how it went to video off position suddenly. Okay. Since when it is like this, I don't know. Okay, just now. Sometimes this my laptop, suddenly goes to video off mode. I don't know how. So anyway, so that's our problem. We are not able to. Sometimes we realize, sometimes we don't realize, and this realization comes like a flash, and then suddenly we say, okay, from now on I'll be serious in bhakti because I'm sorry, I went in the wrong direction and I want to go in the right direction now. So this is basically the situation. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This world is temporary and it is the world of full of miseries. So what is the point in staying here? There's no point. He says, and therefore, napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha. The Mahatmas don't want to stay here. They understand this and they want to immediately serve the Lord. They want to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. Therefore, Krishna says, after attaining me, the great souls who are the yogis in devotions never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So our goal is to attain higher perfection. Okay, and when we achieve higher perfection, we automatically transcend the modes of material nature and we get shifted to the first destination. So therefore, this in today's verse, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, what he says, Ashraddha dhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nirvantante mrityu samsara vartamani. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes. They will return to the birth and death in this material world. So the key here is to have faith. Faith in Bhakti Yoga, to have faith in Bhakti, to have faith in Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and then serve with full faith. So when we serve in full faith, automatically faith gives us more faith and then we keep growing. So if we can, then if we miss this chance also, then we ultimately end up into goal 3. Goal 3 is horror. Goal 3 is the destination of hell, Patal Loka or Put Loka. And then you have to somehow pray that some putra comes and delivers you. So this happens when the mind is acting under the mode of ignorance, complete ignorance. It has lost its, because of its ignorance, even the intelligence has lost its discrimination power. It is completely abusive, and the chariot driver himself becomes abusive and indiscriminate. So what to speak of the passenger? He has no choice. So in such situation, what happens is Narka Dwaram, Narka Shedam Dwaram. Trividyam Narka Shedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmana Kama Krodha Tata Lobha Tasma Etat Trayam Brijet. Automatically lust, anger, greed, and remaining all byproducts of that will keep on developing. And they will really take you towards the gate of hell. And therefore, in today's word, Prabhupada says, Tamodwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. He says one of the important things that we have to note. Now, for example, these horses are running. And one of the things that this driver has to see is that these horses don't get distracted, correct? If they get distracted, they will go here and there. When will they get distracted? When there are no, their vision is open all sides. Most of the horses you see, running horses, they will have a vision covered on the sides, so they can see only straight like that. So they are supposed to see only the road and keep running. The moment you open this, they will be able to turn, and then they'll be able to see some fruits on this side. They'll be able to see some other sense objects on this side, and they want to enjoy. And instead of here, they'll start running there with full speed. And that Yoshitam is very dangerous, dear devotees. Yoshitam is basically the association of women. So here Prabhupada says very clearly based on this Tamodwaram. So Tamodwaram Yoshitam is people who take, exceptional association. There are some people who want to only associate with Stree, with females. And then they derive some sorts of sense pleasure. They are trying to satisfy their senses by such interactions. Or there are another category of people who are close to people who are also Yoshitam. So such Sangi Sangam means we have to be very, very careful. Because, Jaise Rang, what is that? Jaise Sang, Vaise Rang. So you will be known by the company you keep. And then automatically the Dwaram will open for Narka. Because we will get that taste. Because Tamoguna will overtake your mind, and then your mind will act only in Tamoguna. So therefore, Mahaprabhu says, Asat Sanga Tyaga e Vaishnavachar Sri Sangi Eka Asadu Krishna Bhakta Ara. So he says a Vaishnava should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Then common people are very much materially attached, especially to women. And Vaishnava should avoid the company of those who are also not devotees of the Lord. So this is the guideline that Mahaprabhu, he has come and he has alerted us, especially if we are serious on the path of bhakti. Then we have to keep this in mind. Everything is a danger, dear devotees, in this world. What looks like nectar can turn out to be a poison for us. So therefore, each and every step, padam padam yad vipadam, is danger. We are not like Haridas Thakur, that prostitute tries to come and lure him, and then he says, wait. We are so much conditioned in this material life that we will be victims. So the only way to remind ourselves is to be humble, to always be protected in the care of devotees. So in that case, there's a good chance that we will at least try to follow the footsteps of good devotees who are our role models. In that way, we can protect ourselves. So what we understand here is the central figure is the mind and intelligence. So mind, mana and buddhi are playing a very, very important role in our life journey. And therefore, mind is always also called as a sixth sense. Mana shashta indriyani, and it is working hard. It is making us work hard also. Prakriti sthani karshati. And it's always, its job is thinking, willing, feeling. It will never remain idle. It's a reservoir of all this thinking, willing, feeling. It always thinks to feel, and it always feels to do the willing act. And the willing is nothing but the action that follows. So the action is basically what is following is the reflection of your mind. So when you say you are the reflection of your mind, that is actually the action from our body that is radiating, and that is coming from our mind. So sometimes we can see the person is sad. Okay, he has not told us he's sad. He has not told us he's happy. But we can make out he's happy, he's sad. So somebody is able to show us the real love. Like when Guru shows you something, it is out of his compassion, it is out of his love. But a materialistic person who is showing us some helping hand, it could be some lust, we don't know. Sometimes there could be greed, there could be some anger, delusion, pride, envy. All these feelings will automatically come. And therefore Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavad dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo rivasu dushkaram. So here Arjuna, in a very short time, is explaining so many adjectives about the mind, because he is saying that my mind is flickering. Oh Krishna, it's restless. It is obstinate, stubborn, dridam, and very strong, balavad. And where is the question of subduing it? You are asking me to subdue it, but I think it is more difficult than to control the wind. So that is the situation. If Arjuna is feeling that, it is not that, in reality, Arjuna is a pure devotee. He's just basically, it's a position that he has taken to give us the idea of what can happen for us, a conditioned soul. So we are nowhere. Our mind is all the time dragging. In 1 second, it goes to Seattle and comes back. Fraction of a second. In a fraction of a second, it does something mischievous activities and comes back. In a fraction of a second, it does some lustful things and comes back. So all that is doing, mind is doing, playing these dirty tricks. And this mind is basically subtle. It is interfacing between it is subtle, but it's interfacing between the gross brain and the body, that is the senses. So whatever we are saying, we are carrying 300 grams of brain inside. That brain is, it is just nothing. It's like a car without a driver. So the mind is actually interfacing. Then the brain starts to, all the wiring of the brain starts working. So we need to understand that this mind is basically, when through the senses, eyes, nose, tongues, ears, and skin, it wants to experience. It is getting dhyato vishayam pumsan. So all the contemplation starts. Sangat teshu pajayate, and then the attachment starts. So it's a storehouse of all the thoughts, unfulfilled desires, kama krodha bijayate. all the previous experience, everything is stored. So this mind is like a tank, reservoir. It is just taking the help of the various senses. Dear Buddhi, what is your job? The job of the Buddhi is like the person who is playing orchestra or the driver of the chariot. The Buddhi should direct the mind. That is the position it should take. But by nature, mind can be controlled. If the Buddhi is strong, then it becomes a best friend. And if Buddhi is not strong, then the mind will be uncontrolled. It will become the greatest enemy. So here, Arjuna again says, Krishna says, for him who has controlled the mind is the best friend. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind will remain the greatest enemy. So now, having understood the tricks of mind, we should straight away focus our attention on intelligence. That is the intelligence to approach the intelligence. It is not enough just to say, oh, Buddhi, you're greater than the mind. No. We have understood now where the problem is. The root cause we have understood. Because this is my problem. I'm not able to chant with full concentration. My mind is running everywhere. Just when I sit to chant, sometimes I feel like dozing. Why all this happening? Because I'm shutting off some of my senses which are supposed to be active. So the mind can be compared to a knife in the hands of a miscreant, or it can be in the hand of surgeon. It can save a life. So nothing wrong with the knife, but it depends upon in whose hand it is. In the hand of surgeon, it is to save life. In the hand of miscreant, it is to take away the life. So taking away life. So this means the mind is unconquered. So now we come to the next 10-15 minutes. Dear devotees, will spend a little bit more on understanding the mind. Our Gauravilas Prabhu did touch upon this point on the acronym of the mind. I will try to elaborate a little bit more because I feel this is very, very important in the context of today's verse. Okay. So the acronym mind, M stands for it magnifies your problem. I is it imagines the pleasures. Aha. If I do this, I can obtain that. It tricks. N neglects the opportunity. You have an opportunity, wonderful opportunity, and it chooses to neglect voluntarily. D, it denies the reality. Okay. And thus, as we may know, that sometimes an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of a medicine. That means, however strong medicine you take, but the infection is so acute that, like it happened in COVID, we were taking different types of medicine, but the infection became so much that medicine became ineffective. So here, the medicine is intelligence, but your mind has become so corrupt, so perverted that even your intelligence has now succumbed to it. So that is what we have to we understand. And then Mahaprabhu says in Antelila, CC 6.227, Jivera lalsaye iti utidhai Shishnodara parayana Krishna nahi pai. That means for one who is a subservient of the tongue, then the tongue starts running in all directions. You cannot control the tongue. Then Shishnodara parayana, such a person becomes, instead of becoming Narayan Parayana, he starts becoming Shishnodara Parayana. That means he starts becoming the subservient of the genitals and, belly. And then such a person will never achieve Krishna. So let's understand what is M, magnifying your problem. So typically the mind has got this habit, you must have noticed, it converts a simple work into a workload. What is the meaning of this? For example, let's say there's a coolie or a porter. Now he is paid to carry some load on his head. Let's say he is paid to carry 30 kilograms of load on his head. Now suppose he tries to load himself with another 30 kilos. Does it make any sense? He is actually adding more workload. And in the process, actually, he is doing an act of stupidity. So that is what it means, like mana sastya indriyani prakriti sthani. So we are exactly doing that. Our mind, we are trying to do hard work, and we are converting simple work into more and more workload. We are trying to make it complex. We are not trying to keep it simple. We need to keep it as simple as possible. And in the process, what it does is mind adds some mirchi masala of the past and anticipated future to present problem as if it's a burden. And then these such burdens are unnecessary for us. Another example we can think. Now, suppose, let's say somebody is a cook. Somebody is a good cook. And while cooking some item, by mistake, that the vessel tilts and the item gets spilled all over. It goes on the burner, it goes on the platform, falls on this. So it is an incident that has happened. We cannot deny the incident has happened. Now the mind is playing on him now, and the mind tells him, "Oh, you are actually you neglected. You went here and there. That's why it has happened." Okay, it has happened, but that doesn't make the person a failure. That incident has happened. That incident happened. It's failed. Okay, fine. Now instead of forgetting and moving forward, the next time when we try to carry some load or we carry to do that again, that same thing the mind will now tell. Last time you did this, and then maybe in future also you will do this. Maybe you're good for nothing. All those kind of negative thoughts, this mind will keep on playing upon your mind, and therefore it magnifies your problem. It just negative. So you're good for nothing, you're careless, you're reckless, and all you're useless, and all that comes. So in the process, the mind brings a big whole lot of baggage with it. Okay, in that way it magnifies your problem. Then how does it imagines the pleasures? So there is some pleasure in this material world, but the mind imagines it to be far greater than what it actually is. Like here, Govindas is singing this beautiful song. Hari Hari, sorry, this is that Bhaja Hore Man Sri Nandanandana. So in that this comes, Vifale Shebunu Kripana Durjana Chapala Shuka Labalagire. That means Chapala Shuka. I ended up what? Sevanu Kripana. I am serving all this kind of miserly people, Durjana, hopeless such people, and then I'm trying to get happiness. There is no happiness in that. So absolutely no happiness. But I am imagining that I'll get happiness when like the donkey, when the carrot is the donkey owner, he will just string a carrot in the front. So it actually keeps on walking, thinking that the carrot is for me and I am going to get this carrot. But in the process, what he's doing is dumping load after load after load. So I'm imagining some pleasure, and actually I'm not getting that pleasure. So this pleasure, our Prahlad Maharaj is comparing this to Mrigatrishni Rupa. What is Mrigatrishni Rupa? Mrigatrishni Rupa means that I'm seeing that there's some water in the desert, and I'm running. But at the end of the day, it is just a mirage. There is no water. So what is the use of that happiness that I'm thinking that there is a water there? No use. And in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is mentioned that the happiness of earthly planets is 1,000 times less compared to the heavenly planets. And heavenly planets' pleasure is 1,000 times less compared to Brahmalok or Satyalok. And that is 1,000 times less compared to Brahmananda, impersonal happiness. And that is 1,000 times less compared to Bhakti Ananda, the pleasure which we get from Rasamrita Sindhu, that's the ocean, which is what is the real happiness is. So instead of pursuing that happiness, we are running after this Chapala Shuka, because the mind is tricking you that this pleasure is ultimate. In reality, it's a momentary happiness. We get that, and after that, again back to square. So this is what actually sometimes, as Bhakti Siddhanta Swami says, the mind takes you for a fantasy trip. Anita Mataji, I just wanted to ask, can I go for another 10 minutes? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhuji. It's very interesting. We want to hear more.
Thank you. So this fantasy trip that Bhakti Siddhanta Swami is now talking about is giving an example of a poor milkman. And that milkman has got an old cow. And this old cow is not giving any milk at all. Suddenly, to his surprise, one day, this old cow gave a pot of milk. And he was so happy. He started jumping in joy. And then he went into an imagination of pleasure. What he was thinking, oh, now if I go and go to the market and I sell this pot of milk, I'll get a lot of money. And with that money, I'll buy another cow, not an old cow, but maybe a young cow. And that cow will give me not one pot of milk, but maybe 10 pots of milk, maybe 20 pots of milk. And with that money, which I sell that, I can buy more cows. And with that, more cows, I can now make a cow shed. And how wonderful that will be for me to do that. And once I have the cow shed, I'll have a small house just adjacent to the cow shed. And then I'll have a beautiful wife whom I'll marry. Not only will I marry, but I'll control her. All this, and suddenly when he's thinking like that, his hands move like this in joy. And what happens? That pot of milk which he had, that also falls down. So whatever he had, with that also got lost, and it was just a fantasy trip. He went into a fantasy trip of imagination because he was imagining a pleasure after pleasure which was non-existent. So this is the work of how the mind tricks. So through this fantasy trip of imagination, the mind allows the horses of the chariot. This is very important. See now, the horses of chariot, they're running. The moment they see something that is attracting them, then they start picking up the momentum. Once they start picking up the momentum, it is very difficult to stop them. Very difficult. The mind, even if it then later on wants to stop, or the buddhi which it wants to stop, it goes out of control. It cannot stop. And this is the problem. We are allowing the momentum, okay, of this imaginary pleasures to pick up. So the horses, the senses are picking up, and they gallop. And then there is a point of no return. That is exactly. And then once that happens, it drags us into undesirable activity. At that point, we regret. Repentance, it happens for most of us. And sometimes for some people, they say, no, I have made progress. I don't care. Now I was there. Famous dialogue. I don't want to go into movies. Mere paas gaadi hai, bangla hai, naukar hai, chakar, and all that comes in the mind. Tumhare paas kya hai? The famous dialogue of 1975. So all this is because of the imagination of the mind. So Prabhupada says there's a famous Bengali proverb and a song that I constructed this home for happiness. But unfortunately, there was a fire and everything now has been burned to ashes. Gone. Everything is gone. So this is what the mind does. And then we see N. N neglects the opportunity. There's an opportunity in front of us, and the mind, the N of the mind, is basically neglecting it. How it does that? So the mind deludes us through misappropriation of the feeling of guilt. So we all have consciousness. Okay, the consciousness is there, which is basically the voice of the inner voice, as Stephen Covey calls it. Hear your inner voice, the 8th habit of greatness. Hear your inner voice. That inner voice is nothing but your Krishna's voice, the voice of the Lord. It's sitting inside as Paramatma. So that is giving you, sometimes when we do the activity, which is not a proper activity, inappropriate activity, we get a sense of guilt. So dear devotees, what is this guilt? What is this guilt? This guilt is nothing, but actually it is a defense mechanism, psychological defense mechanism of our body. For example, when I get a cut on my finger, okay, there's a blood oozing out. Immediately there is a mechanism, okay, there's a mechanism where it releases the WBCs so that the clotting can take place. There's a fighting mechanism. And then automatically the wound starts slowly healing, the blood clots, and there is no more oozing of the blood, and then gradually the healing process starts. Similarly, psychologically, there is a defense mechanism of guilt. So guilt is something that is not to be ignored. Guilt is a reality. Guilt is something that is, desirable if you can take it positively. Okay, because that comes as a wall between you, your mind, and the activity that you're going to perform. That is or which you have performed, or which you may perform more, which is not an appropriate activity. Okay, so feeling of guilt comes when we do something against our inner consciousness, and therefore guilt is compared to a watchdog, the inner voice of consciousness prompting us to avoid the wrong things. And this comes from Krishna, because Krishna is sitting in our hearts. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. He says, I am sitting in everyone's heart. Matasmriti jnanam apohanam cha. So from him comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So that feeling that he is sitting here and I'm doing something that is contrary to the consciousness, that is that guilt. Now what mind does is, so similarly, like how the watchdog, the guilt is like a watchdog, like how the watchdog starts to bark when the sinful desire comes into us. The guilt is actually a barking is coming inside. And if you ignore it, you'll commit the sinful desire. Your desire is met. But the mind is like a sinister. Instead of the guilt coming between us and the wrongdoing, it is positioning us between us and Krishna. Look at this. So the real guilt goes into a false guilt. So we have got the false ego and the true ego. Okay, similarly, the real guilt, it transforms into the false pseudo guilt, and that now stands between us and Krishna instead of coming in between and the sinful desires. And then when it comes in between us and Krishna, you have lost the opportunity. You're neglecting the opportunity. You didn't hear, and then you go ahead and you commit the sin. So therefore, we say that, adversity can be converted into opportunity. It cannot be done if you allow the pseudo guilt to come in between you and Krishna. So the mind stops us from converting that. So therefore, negative thinking again comes, and like there's an example of a ring boxer. He gets hammered blue and black, and he falls on the ring. And then at that time, there's still time for him to wake up and give a counter punch. But instead of asking his coach, hey coach, what I'm supposed to do? He's asking his opponent, do you think I can get up and beat you and I can win over you? And what will he say? No way. He gives one more punch, and that's the end of the story. So exactly this is what we're doing. We are allowing, instead of asking Krishna, through this guilt, we're actually keeping like a barrier, and we are we are allowing a desire to go, and then we are allowing it free flow, and then we commit mistakes after many mistakes. Then we come to the last point of the mind, that is D. So D denies reality. What is the reality? Duryodhan couldn't see what was coming because he refused to believe that Krishna was Supreme Personality Godhead. He actually thought Krishna is just some sort of a mystic yogi. Therefore, he never Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He denied the absolute truth. So the absolute truth is basically coming only when you do bhakti practice. And that is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to hammer in today's purport. Our understanding of, love for Krishna. And this understanding is not to understand our love for Krishna, is to understand his love for us. It is not that we have to keep ourselves in the center and to try to say that how great I am, see I'm loving you so much. No. It's to show that we are virtually useless. So, but we are trying to serve in our best capacity. And despite that, Krishna, I have nothing, still you are loving me. I have no qualification, still you are loving me. I'm a useless fellow, but still you are not giving up with me. You are loving me. So that is bhakti. Bhakti gives you that kind of understanding that despite your zero qualification or negative qualification, Krishna wants to rescue you again. He sends through Guru, he sends through various Vaishnavas who are trying to rescue me. And that is Krishna's way of expressing his love. So that is the why actually. And if I deny this, the mind tricks me here again. Mind tricks me again. How? It denies the reality of Krishna's love for us. And it denies the reality of bhakti's potency and the happiness of bhakti. It denies. Straight away it denies. Here also it tricks. So as a result, we understand that these denials of the mind can be only countered by serving the Guru and Vaishnavas. That is buddhi. So now we come to we finished mind. Now we are talking of the other central figure, that is buddhi. We have to transform ourselves from the material intelligence to spiritual intelligence, because that will drive us to Goloka Vrindavan. Because this buddhi is nothing but serving. So how to overcome the denials of the mind and all the 4 acronyms of the mind, it can be denied only if we gather spiritual intelligence. And that is Prabhupada says, by serving Guru, Vaishnavas, reading scriptures, chanting his holy name, and full surrender with humility. This will purify our senses, our mind, and completely transform. That is spiritual intelligence. So in other words, our mind has got, we say, thinking, willing, feeling. That willing is our free will. So that free will, Krishna, you gave it to me. You had the confidence in me, but I am incapable. I am giving this free will back to you. You direct through your intelligence how I should do, how I should act, my free will. So I'm surrendering my free will to Krishna. And I'm praying to him to guide me at each point. So I'm not telling Krishna, oh Krishna, give me this, give me that, give me this. Oh Krishna, you know what is best for me. You do what is best for me. Because whatever condition you put me, I want to be only your servant. I want to be only servant of my spiritual master, because he has lifted me from the gutter. So then, when I think in that, Tesham Satajuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. When I am doing this bhajan, Priti Purvakam, always he gives me that intelligence. Tesham Satata Yuktanam. That is spiritual intelligence. And when we get that, then Krishna says, then we will be able to understand this, because ultimately we understood mind intelligence is the important. Intelligent man, spiritually intelligent man, will give credit to intelligence. He will ignore the diktats of the mind. Indriyani parayanyahur indriyabhya paramana manasastu para buddhi buddhe paratastu saha. Very important verse. Our body working, working senses, all our senses superior to the dull matter, our body. Mind is intelligent, higher than the senses, but intelligence is still higher than the mind. And this, an intelligent soul can understand, because he's higher than he has got nothing to do with his data. He's basically, that intelligence will tell him, Arey Baba, you passenger, you are part and parcel of Krishna. Why are you worried? Why there is fear for you? Nothing. You're going home back to Godhead. Have faith in me, I'm taking you. That is what actually this. Therefore, if intelligence is stronger than the mind, then it will control it. The power of discrimination, what is right, what is right, what is absolute right. We are not talking of material right. In material, there are so many things right and wrong. What is absolute right? That comes from spiritual intelligence. Further, if it becomes more and more pure, it will direct us automatically to Krishna. So this is sum and substance of this particular chariot model, dear devotees. And consciousness, which is our soul, which we all are, pervades through our body. It is intrinsic characteristic. So the passenger whom we saw in the chariot, that is what we are. So at times the soul tries to enjoy the activities of the senses, which we should not do. And we should think of the potholes where this horses are taking us, and we are falling down. The wheels are coming off. Our legs are breaking. Time and again we are falling. So all that should be our introspection and reflection. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada concludes by saying that in the conditioned life, the consciousness in the body is the cause of bondage. If we think that this is what enjoyment is, it is taking me to all the various pleasures, horses, then beat, tatastu, you will be here. And when this same consciousness is transformed to Krishna consciousness, because then in that case, we are a good candidate to go home back to Godhead. And for that, we should completely discard all our designations. Sarvopadi vinirbhuktam tat paratena nirmalam. That's what Prabhupada says. Our only identity is Jivera Swarupa Krishnara Nityadas, and we are Dasa Dasa Anudas. Gopi Bhav Padakamayor, Dasa Dasa Anudas. So that is Krishna consciousness. That is our movement. Thank you very much, dear devotees. I will stop here. And if there are any questions or comments, please come forward. I'm sorry, I went slightly over time. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful session, and very nicely explained about the mind, how it feels guilty, and that guiltiness also, I feel it also satisfies. It's okay. One time you did, it's fine. So, which makes us to not to feel guilty about that. Even if the guiltiness is there, it also makes us to convince. Okay, it's fine. Next time you can make it better. So, but today's class, it was very nice about the mind, which you said. Each and every point was like I was relating with me, like, okay, this is happening with me also. So I should improve on these areas. I was thinking. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, yeah, we have raised hands. If you have any questions or realizations, please go ahead. Yes, Preeti Vilasini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. What a pleasure to hear from you today. The chariot analogy was so nicely discussed. We have heard the chariot analogy so many times, but I'd never heard it in this depth. So thank you so much. And two takeaways for today for me was, one is always be conscious of the destination. We keep thinking chariot of the mind, the intelligence and all that. And I feel that I'm thinking of all of these while thinking about the chariot analogy, but I'm forgetting the destination. So that was my takeaway. Remember, always, all this is there, that is good, but then we should be conscious of the destination. And the second point, like, I think everybody will agree to this. My major takeaway was that the immune system, the guilt, never neglect the guilt. Like even Anita Mataji was telling, sometimes the guilt comes up and we forget to acknowledge the guilt. Rather, we are encouraging it again by saying, no, it's okay. I can ignore the guilt for now and we'll take care of it later. So our mind is so tricky. Yes, it is. But next time when I get that guilt feeling, I consciously will try my best to address it. So thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Prabhu.
so
Very
much, Mataji.
beautiful.
Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna to you.
Yeah, the slides are a big treasure, Prabhu. You make such beautiful slides. And when we see these slides, it is so easy to follow. We are not losing our track of following the class. So very nice, Prabhu. So grateful to you. Hare Krishna. Beautiful
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. One more hand raise is there. Is that Kirtida Mataji or Shyam Gauri Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Shyam Chandra Prabhu. Excellent session. This is Kirtida Sundari Dasi.
Hare
Very
Krishna, Mataji.
wonderful.
Dandavat Pranam.
And I think so, all my points have already been spoken by Anita Mataji and Preeti Mataji. I have nothing left. Just to glorify you that yes, slides were commendable. It was so easy to follow, so easy. You explained everything. You explained the hierarchy of senses, the mind, the intelligence, and finally our chitta, the consciousness. So everything is so wonderfully explained that even a person like me who's still in kindergarten can
No,
understand
Mataji,
these
please don't say that.
so
I'm
nice.
much, lower level than you.
प्रभु प्लीज आपकी भाषा में बोलूं कहाँ राजा भोज कहाँ गंगू तेली
Mataji, that's your humility.
But yes, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare
much
Krishna.
for coming on the call, for
Thanks
giving.
for your association, wonderful association, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna. Danvat pranams.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Sindhurao Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the opportunity. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Very beautiful class. I think Preeti Vilasini Mataji and Kirtida Mataji have covered most of the points. I think your slides are excellent. We cannot rely on our mind, and that's why we rely on your slides during the course of the presentation. I just had one question. I did not understand the pseudo guilt that you were talking about,
Okay.
Prabhu. I know you gave a beautiful example of a ring boxer, but in our life, how is the pseudo guilt playing?
Yes, Mataji. So we should understand this way that say guilt we all have. We all get guilt at the time when we are doing something contrary to our inner voice. Correct. Now sometimes we hear the inner voice, and because of this guilt that has come, and we do not proceed with that activity. It may not be a sinful activity, but still it is not an appropriate activity. Correct.
Yes.
Now suppose if I ignore that guilt. So ignoring that guilt can happen. It's not disobeying the gift. So guilt, I'm acknowledging the guilt, but now what I'm doing is I'm transferring the guilt from me, between me and the activity which I'm going to perform, to between me and Krishna. Therefore, I am putting a barrier. So I'm obstructing Krishna's voice, inner voice to me, and this is a voluntary decision I took. That's a trick that the mind is making upon me to do, and therefore I go ahead and I succumb to my activity, and I go ahead and do that. That is the activity that we all are victims of. Actually, most of us are victims of. At least for me, I can speak. I've done that several times, and sometimes I do repent. And that's how actually I've grown step by step in understanding this.
So it is.
Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. So is it because of the uncontrolled attachment and to the desire and the sense objects that we ignore that guilt and try to put a distance between Krishna and us?
Yeah. So you can put it in the chariot model. If you see, there was one statement I made that the horses, once they start seeing some pleasure activities, then they're already galloping. Now their momentum is increasing. You see?
Yes.
So once the momentum increases, then the mind wants to stop them. That's a guilt, but it is unable to do it.
Okay.
And then it actually gives way.
I see. Okay. Okay.
It has already
Thank you,
galloped, so we should have probably arrested it at that point, which we didn't do.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for taking time and explaining this to me. Hare Krishna. Give your
Hare Krishna.
association more
My pleasure,
often.
Mataji.
Wonderful
Thank you.
class.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Do you have time, Prabhu? We have 2 more hands, right?
Yeah, I've got time. No problem.
Okay. Anusha Mataji, please go ahead. Anusha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for breathing in so much of wisdom with your breathtakingly brilliant presentation. Starting from the fresh guard, it was an amazing innings in your language. So it was a wonderful class. My learnings were, thank you for redefining bhakti and civilization. Bhakti, foremost, I understood that it's about understanding Krishna's love for us and not the other way around. So that was an eye-opening thing. And what is actual civilization and who are actually non-civilized people, and what civilization is to depend on Krishna, and how we should not be arrogant, and how do we escape from Dr. Frog mentality? What is the intelligence to approach the real intelligence, and how do we escape from the fantasy trip of imagination of the mind and the tale of two destinations? Either you go back home, back to Godhead, or you go to the 3 gates of hell. It opens up for you. And
Or you stay in between.
Yeah, and 2 reminders that we should tell ourselves daily is how we are hankering and hopping aimlessly, pleasure after pleasure, which is actually non-existent. You had mentioned about the mirage example, and how the horses of chariot don't allow us to, for the momentum to carry on. And how do we mute the voices of the world and plug into our inner voice, wherein our consciousness speaks, Krishna speaks to us. And finally, how do we drive our life with Krishna consciousness and never be satisfied with a century, as you said. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful lecture. I think we'll have to hear this class twice or thrice again to actually understand what you have explained. It was a plethora of Bhagavad Gita shlokas in the platter. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very
Thank you,
blessed.
Anusha Mataji. Actually, in one sense, it was a basics. We have to, we should always stay grounded or rooted to the basics. This is my, understanding, because one can advance all right, but in the process, basics should never be brushed aside, and our basics is always Bhagavad Gita.
Well said, very well said, Prabhu. Yes, our basics are Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much, Mataji, for that recap of the class. And lastly, we have Shashwant Agrawal, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you for such wonderful class, and your PPTs are great, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. And Prabhuji, I got everything. Just I have a doubt. Everything is we have to focus the mind, but how to focus the mind is the biggest challenge, and that is Prabhuji, my question.
Yeah, so that I remember after finishing on the mind, I went to the intelligence. So it's the job of the intelligence to help you focus on the mind or control the mind. And intelligence, can be material intelligence and can be spiritual intelligence. So if we are all actually, since we are conditioned, we have inherently in us material intelligence, right from our birth and our education. We are taught to study so that we can get a good degree, and then we get a good job, so that we can all become, millionaires and billionaires, if possible. So that is the material intelligence. One may say there's nothing wrong, but then that intelligence is material, and then the biggest problem is it will not allow you to traverse beyond this material planet. And that is not our goal. So it depends what your goal is. And then I also said that if your goal is to go to the spiritual world, eternal world, then you have to transform from material intelligence to spiritual intelligence. And that is possible by through scriptures. That is possible through Vaishnava service. And that is possible through Kripa, Mat Kripa. So everything revolves around, like if I have 10 grams of gold, I can give you. But if I don't have anything, I cannot give you, even though your interest is to take gold from me. So all these Mahat Kripas, they have got enough of, they have enough of spiritual hankerings, and they are actually Jnana Darshanas, Tattva Jnana Darshan. So they can actually see, and they become eager more than our interest to take it from their interest is to give it to us. So that is what we have to try to, identify. And had it not been for Prabhupada, we would have never known all these things. That is our biggest, I would say, fortune, good fortune. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Vinita Gandhavika Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm sorry, my phone has some issues with the unmuting. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Especially, I like the one magnifying the problem. Whatever the problem is there, that is, it's nothing, but we keep thinking, the mind gives, oh, this is such a big problem. Okay, I cannot solve it. I'm gonna get into it. And also you were talking about how I'm the most sinful person. I'm this and that. I'm no worth of anything. How negative thoughts comes upon us and upon, and it's gonna torture us. So we should be always taking shelter of Krishna and spiritual masters, so that we understand that yes, we may be that, but by taking shelter of them, we can get out of those situations and get progress in our spiritual life. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very, very grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for your wonderful association. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, I was also thinking, like when you were saying that the mind, one small spark is enough. That's all. Then it will go everywhere else. Means so many good things must have happened. But one small spark, then it will trigger the mind. The mind will trigger us, and it will take us to the past. See, these things and all this person has done. So you should not forgive. All those nasty things will happen. So.
Yeah.
So many times I've experienced that, Prabhuji, and consciously.
Mataji, whatever I spoke is all my experience only. If I relate myself, I've gone through all this kind of guilts, and I've continued to get all these guilts. So therefore, it was easy for me to just share. It is not that I've overcome all these things. No, it is it's staring in front of me sometimes. So, and I know what I'm saying is true. So please pray, all of you, please pray for me that I'm able to overcome all that.
Hari Bol, yes, we'll pray for each other, Prabhu. And one more thing also, during the chanting, you said that the mind means like every time we feel that, for me especially, when I sit and chant, immediately it goes out. Immediately. Not in, so even we cannot, even in seconds, milliseconds, and if anything, any unit is there, then we can say even that also. That much the mind is so intolerable. And I don't know how to bring back that. And each and every time when we do that, also it goes out.
Yeah.
So, and especially when something happens in the family or something is there, then with the devotees, then those things will be coming out. So, how to consciously neglect that? Do you have any tips for it?
Yeah, so this, Panchatattva prayer actually is very, very potent. When we say Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, then we start, no? So, our focus should be a lot on that prayer also. I mean, this is what actually I'm now realizing, that many a times, okay, we may be saying that prayer, but with not much of focus as much as we give for the Mahamantra. But this prayer actually is a mercy prayer. When we just say that, just when we say Jai to all these five potent personalities, and then you start your, Mahamantra prayer, chanting, I to some extent, I could actually feel that, there is some difference. And other thing is, when I'm losing that attention, I little bit increase my volume, internally in such a way that I'm able to hear. So that will take away my, sleeping propensity or whatever that comes at that time. little bit, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Not too loud also, because we have to conserve our energy also, no. So from that point of view.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that wonderful advice. Let me follow that also. And thank you so much. And we do not have any hand raise, I feel, but we have glorifications about the class in the chat. Who's that? Harita Mataji is saying that I could relate myself to most of the points you told, and I feel I got most of the answers for the questions in my mind. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And she wants to implement, and she seeks your prayers also for that. And Munita Mataji is saying beautiful class, and Yeshomati Mataji is also saying beautiful class. Priya Mataji is saying a simple, subtle, and yet a powerful presentation of the most critical aspects of how we have given into the mind. Could visualize myself sailing in the thoughts that would be lead me to goal 3, shook me up, felt scary, and woke me to enhance and sustain sadhana way forward to tread through the goal 1. So then, Shashwant Mataji and Manjalila Mataji are saying very beautiful.
Very nice of Mataji to have openly mentioned that she's mentioned, could visualize myself sailing in the thoughts that would be leading me to goal 3, shook me up. That's very nice of her to have openly mentioned that. And I'm also on the same boat, Mataji. So we are all in the same boat. At least I'm there in the boat.
Everyone is on the same boat. If you yourself, if you say, then where we all means, like I'm saying about myself also. You're at least in the boat. I'm trying to get on the boat. That's a situation of me. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. And we do not have any hand raise or the chat. With your permission, we can end the call here. And definitely,
so I wanted to wholeheartedly thank each and every one of you for giving me your wonderful association this evening in India and morning for some of you in the US. And please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpataru vyascha kripa sindhu
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Gaudiya Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Sangha Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
His Grace Shyam Chandra Prabhu Ki Jai. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji, for
Krishna.
a wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, India devotee.